A white van sits alone in the Wyoming wilderness. It's been parked there for days, maybe longer. No one knows for sure. The engine is cold, the doors are locked. Inside everything looks normal, camping gear, clothes, a camera, but something feels wrong. Because the two people who were traveling in that van, a young couple documenting their dream road trip across America, they're both gone. One of them will be found, but not alive. The other will disappear into a swamp. And when they find him weeks later, he'll be dead too. But before any of that happens, before the bodies are discovered, before the whole world starts searching, there's a moment that changes everything. A phone call to 911, a traffic stop in Utah, a girl crying, a boy calm, two cops trying to figure out what's really going on, and a decision that will haunt everyone involved. Because 16 days after that traffic stop, one of them will be dead. The question everyone wants answered is simple. What really happened between the traffic stop and the day she died? Let me take you back to the beginning, back when everything looked perfect. Summer 2021. 22-year-old Gabby Petito and her 23-year-old boyfriend Brian Laundrie are living what looks like a dream. They've converted a white Ford van into a camper. They're traveling across America, visiting national parks, sleeping under the stars, living what people call van life. Gabby documents everything on social media: beautiful photos, smiling selfies, videos of sunsets and mountain views. She has thousands of followers on Instagram. People love watching her journey. She's living the life so many people dream about. Gabby and Brian have been together since high school. They grew up in New York. After dating for about a year, Gabby moved to Florida to live with Brian and his parents. In 2020, Brian proposed. There was no ring. But at the moment he asked, a firefly landed on Gabby's finger. They both thought it was a sign, a good one. Instead of planning a wedding, they decided to do something else first. Buy a van, travel the country, create memories. On July 2nd, 2021, they left Florida. The plan was to spend 4 months on the road, visit as many national parks as possible, document everything for Gabby's growing social media following. At first, everything seemed perfect. Photos showed them laughing, kissing, exploring, living their best life. But people who knew them, Gabby's friends and family, they noticed something. Sometimes the relationship seemed off. Sometimes Brian seemed controlling. Sometimes Gabby seemed anxious. But from the outside, looking at Instagram, everything looked beautiful. August 12th. The van is driving through Moab, Utah. A 911 call comes in. Someone saw a man hitting a woman outside a white van. The caller says the man slapped the girl. Then they got in the van and drove off. Police find the van, pull it over. What happens next will be analyzed and debated for years. The police separate Gabby and Brian, question them one at a time. Gabby is crying, shaking, struggling to breathe. She's clearly upset. She keeps apologizing, saying it's her fault, saying she has OCD and gets stressed, saying she hit Brian first. Brian is calm, relaxed. He's got scratches on his face. He tells the officers Gabby was upset, that she was hitting him, that he was just trying to calm her down. The officers talk to Brian like he's a buddy. They joke around. They laugh. They feel bad for him, having to deal with a stressed girlfriend. But here's what's strange. The 911 caller said the man was hitting the woman, not the other way around. And Gabby, when they ask her more questions, she says something important. She says Brian grabbed her face, that he kept telling her to shut up, that she hit him, yes, but only after that. But the officers don't dig deeper. They don't ask more questions. They decide this is a mental health crisis, not domestic violence. They make a decision. separate them for the night. Brian goes to a hotel. Gabby stays in the van. The officers leave. They file their report. They move on. No arrests, no follow-up, just a routine traffic stop. 16 days later, Gabby will be dead. August 25th, Gabby FaceTimes her mother from Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. Everything seems okay. August 27th, Gabby's mom receives a text. It's normal. Gabby mentions some issues with Brian, says he's been camping outside, but nothing alarming. Then the communication stops. August 30th, Gabby's mom gets another text from Gabby's phone. It says, "Can you help Stan? I just keep getting his voicemails and missed calls." Stan is Gabby's grandfather. But here's the thing. Gabby never called him Stan. She always called him Grandpa. Always. Her mom knows immediately. Something is wrong. That text wasn't from Gabby. Brian Laundrie arrives back at his parents' house in Florida. He's driving Gabby's van, but Gabby is not with him. Brian doesn't call Gabby's family, doesn't text them, doesn't explain where she is. He just goes home. Acts like nothing happened. Gabby's mom keeps trying to reach her daughter. No response. She texts Brian's mom, asks if Gabby is okay. The message is seen, but no one replies. She texts again. This time, her message turns green. She's been blocked. Gabby's dad tries to reach out too. He texts Brian's parents, Brian's sister. No one responds. Finally, he sends a warning. "If you don't reply, I'm calling the police." Still nothing. Complete silence from the entire Laundrie family. September 11th, Gabby's family files a missing persons report. The police go to the Laundrie house. They see Gabby's van parked in the driveway. But when they ask to speak to Brian, his parents just hand them a lawyer's card. They refuse to answer any questions. They refuse to help find Gabby. Brian has been home for 10 days, and he hasn't said a single word about where Gabby is. The case hits social media, and it explodes. Gabby had been documenting her trip online. She had followers. People had been watching her journey, and now she was missing. Her family creates a Facebook post. A simple question, "Where's Gabby?" It spreads fast, really fast. People on Reddit create a special group just for this case. Within a week, 90,000 people join. Everyone wants to help. Everyone has theories. Everyone is searching for clues. And the main question everyone is asking is this: why won't Brian talk? His lawyer releases a statement. It basically says Brian has the right to remain silent, that in cases like this, partners are always the first suspects, that Brian won't be making any statements. The public is furious, because this isn't just about protecting yourself. This is about a missing girl, and the only person who knows where she was last is refusing to help. People start showing up at the Laundrie house, protesters, demanding answers, demanding Brian come outside and talk, but the family stays silent, completely silent. September 15th. Police officially name Brian a person of interest. Still, he says nothing. Then people on the internet start finding things. A couple who was traveling through Wyoming post dashcam footage from late August. The video shows a white van parked at Spread Creek in Grand Teton National Park. The date? August 27th. The last day anyone heard from Gabby. Multiple witnesses come forward. One woman says she picked up a hitchhiker near the park. It was Brian. He was alone. He asked for a ride. He said his girlfriend was back at the van working on their social media. But when the woman mentioned going to a certain town, Brian suddenly panicked. He demanded to be let out immediately. Right there on the side of the road, another witness picked him up right after that. Same story. He needed a ride. His girlfriend was at the van. But here's what's strange. Phone records and GPS data will later show that while Brian was hitchhiking, he was texting Gabby's phone, sending loving messages, but Gabby's phone was back at the van, meaning Brian was texting himself, creating fake conversations, building an alibi. September 19th. The FBI is searching Spread Creek, the area where the van was spotted. They find something. Off a gravel road, not buried, not hidden, just lying there, is the body of a young woman. Gabby's stepdad flies to Wyoming to help with the search. When the officers describe the sweater the body was found in, he knows immediately. It's Gabby.
There's been a tragic end in the hunt for a missing woman in the US. A body has been found in a national park in Wyoming, believed to be that of 22-year-old Gabby Petito. It came after days of speculation around her boyfriend, who returned home alone after a long holiday. As US correspondent Catherine Firkin reports, the bizarre case is far from solved.
September 21st. The FBI officially confirms it. The body is Gabby Petito. Cause of death: manual strangulation. Blunt force trauma to the head and neck. It's ruled a homicide. The news hits everywhere. The entire world now knows. Gabby Petito was murdered, and the only person who was with her, the only person who knows what happened, is Brian Laundrie. September 22nd. A federal arrest warrant is issued for Brian. The charge: using Gabby's debit card without permission. He used it to withdraw over $1,000 between August 30th and September 1st, while driving her van back to Florida, after she was already dead. But by the time the warrant is issued, there's a problem. Brian is gone. September 17th. Brian's parents call the police. They report that their son is missing. He left the house days ago, went hiking at a nearby nature reserve, didn't come back. The police are shocked. They thought Brian was home. They'd been watching the house, watching his car, but turns out they made a mistake. Days earlier, they saw Brian drive off in his gray Mustang. Then they saw the Mustang come back, so they assumed Brian was home. Only it wasn't Brian driving the car back. It was his mother, wearing a baseball cap. They confused her for him. Brian had been gone for days, and no one noticed. The place Brian supposedly went hiking? It's called the Carlton Reserve. 25,000 acres of Florida swampland, filled with water moccasins, alligators, dense brush. It's not the kind of place you go to unwind, and it's definitely not the kind of place you survive for long. Local ranchers who know the area say there's no way someone could survive out there for more than a few days, especially on foot. But the FBI and local police have no choice. They start searching. For weeks, they search. Helicopters, boats, search dogs, officers on foot trudging through waist-deep water. Nothing. Brian Laundrie has vanished. The internet goes wild with theories. Some people think he's still alive, hiding somewhere, that his parents helped him escape. Some think he's dead, that he killed himself out of guilt. Some even wonder if his parents killed him to keep him from talking. While all this is happening, more information comes out about Brian's family. Neighbors reveal that right after Brian came home without Gabby, his parents took him on a camping trip. A family camping trip, like nothing was wrong. People also discover a letter Brian's mom wrote to him, found later in the van. The letter says, "Burn after reading." It talks about unconditional love, about how nothing could make her stop loving him. And then it says this: "If you need to dispose of a body, I'll show up with a shovel and garbage bags." Brian's mom claims the letter was written long before Gabby died, that it was just a dark joke. But given the circumstances, people aren't buying it. October 20th. After weeks of flooding, the Carlton Reserve finally dries out enough to reopen. Brian's parents ask if they can help search for their son. The police agree. They go to the park together. Within hours, they find something. Brian's father is walking off the trail. He comes across a dry bag. Nearby, police find more items: a backpack, a notebook, both badly damaged by water. And then they find human remains, a skeleton, scattered bones that have been chewed on by animals. There's a gunshot wound to the skull, a revolver nearby. Dental records confirm it. The remains belong to Brian Laundrie. The medical examiner rules it a suicide. November. The FBI releases more information. They found Brian's notebook, the one discovered with his remains. Inside is a confession, written in shaky handwriting. Brian writes that Gabby's death was an accident, that they were rushing back to the van before dark, that Gabby fell while crossing a stream, that she hit her head, that she was freezing and in pain, that she begged him to end it. So he did. He writes, "I thought it was merciful, that it's what she wanted." But the confession doesn't match the evidence. The autopsy showed Gabby died from strangulation and blunt force trauma, not from injuries from a fall. Phone records show Gabby was alive and using her laptop until 8:30 at night. They weren't rushing back before dark. And the timeline doesn't make sense. Brian left the van the morning after Gabby died. He hitchhiked. He sent fake texts from her phone. He used her credit card. He drove her van back to Florida. None of that matches a story about a tragic accident and a mercy killing. The FBI makes it clear they don't believe Brian's version of events, but Brian is dead and Gabby is dead, and no one will ever really know exactly what happened in those final moments. Even with both of them gone, questions remain. Why did Brian's parents refuse to help find Gabby? Did they know something? The Petito family believes they did. They filed a lawsuit claiming Brian told his parents about the murder before he came home, that the parents knew and helped him anyway. The case settled out of court for an undisclosed amount. All the money went to the Gabby Petito Foundation. What about the Moab police? The ones who stopped Gabby and Brian that day in August. An investigation found they mishandled the situation. They didn't follow proper domestic violence procedures. They didn't recognize the signs of abuse. If they'd arrested Brian that day, would Gabby still be alive? We'll never know. And what about Brian's death? Was it really suicide? The gun was found on his left side, but Brian was right-handed. That's unusual. Some people, including Gabby's mother, don't believe Brian killed himself. They think someone else was there, maybe his parents. But there's no evidence to support that. The medical examiner ruled it suicide, and that's where it stands. Gabby Petito's case became one of the most watched missing persons cases in history. Millions of people followed the search, contributed tips, helped find witnesses, and in the process, something else happened. Other bodies were found. While searching for Gabby, authorities discovered multiple other missing persons. People who had been gone for months, years. People whose cases had never gotten attention. It highlighted a painful truth. Not all missing persons cases get the same coverage. Gabby's case got massive attention, but thousands of others don't. People started asking why. Why did Gabby's case go viral when so many others are ignored? Some called it missing white woman syndrome, the idea that young, pretty white women get more media attention than anyone else. Gabby's father acknowledged this. He said, "We can't let her name be taken in vain. This same awareness should be for everyone." Her family created the Gabby Petito Foundation. It helps families search for missing loved ones. It supports survivors of domestic violence. It pushes for better training for police officers responding to domestic violence calls. In 2024, Florida passed the Gabby Petito Act. It requires officers to conduct proper assessments during domestic violence calls, to ask the right questions, to recognize warning signs. It's a law that might have saved Gabby, but now it will help save others. Gabby's story became more than just a tragedy. It became a wake-up call about domestic violence, about how we treat missing persons cases, about how social media can help find people, and about how sometimes the picture-perfect life you see online is hiding something dark. Today, Gabby's family still grieves. They have a grave to visit, but they'll never have all the answers. Brian's family has stayed silent. They've never publicly spoken about what they knew or when they knew it. The case is officially closed, but for many people it doesn't feel finished. Too many questions, too many suspicious details, too many what-ifs. What if the Moab police had acted differently? What if Brian's parents had cooperated? What if Gabby had left that relationship before the trip? But we can't change the past. We can only learn from it. Gabby Petito was 22 years old. She had dreams. She had plans. She wanted to inspire people through her travels. Instead, her death inspired change. Change in how we handle domestic violence calls. Change in how we search for missing persons. Change in how we recognize abuse. Her name won't be forgotten. And maybe, just maybe, her legacy will save someone else. This is Case File Chronicle. And this was the story of Gabby Petito, the girl who dreamed of van life, the case that captivated the world, and the tragedy that sparked a movement. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, there is help available. The National Domestic Violence Hotline is available 24/7. You are not alone.